What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another video. So today's video is honestly going to be more of a psychology video, and basically what we're going to be covering in today's topic is risk tolerance and identifying what your risk tolerance actually is. So when you start this very long and treacherous journey of trading, you're going to see a lot of different things online. You're going to see a lot of different traders sharing their ideas. More importantly, you're going to see a lot of trading profits and a lot of trading loss. And what you have to identify, more importantly, is what you risk on a day-to-day basis. Not just that, what you're comfortable with risking on a day-to-day basis. Because you might see me, for example, posting a 20, 30, 40, even $100,000 trading day. You might see other people in the trading community have $10, $15, $20,000 days, $2,000 days. More importantly, ultimately, you have to understand one of two things. You have to understand and identify the amount of capital that you're trading with, and you also have to set realistic expectations to the amount of capital that's relative in your trading account. So essentially, what do I mean by that? Is you can't expect to have $10,000 in your trading account and expect to pull out $10,000 every single day out of the market. Something that would be maybe more realistic, more sustainable, is if you have 200 grand in your trading account and you're pulling out $10,000 every week out of the market. That's more realistic, that's more sustainable. Now, what I mean by talking about having to identify what your risk tolerance actually is first and foremost, you have to just stick to your own trading and focus on yourself. Don't focus on everything that you see possibly online, all these YouTube videos in the Discord community. Don't focus on other people's profits because one, you don't know how much capital they're trading with, and two, you don't know their experience level either. So use the appropriate risk for the amount of capital that you have in your trading account and just focus on trading on a day-to-day basis, and I promise you, with time, you will get better. As any skill in life, with time, dedication, practice, you will get better. Now, when we come to identifying our risk tolerance, really it comes down to 110% emotions and also tying in those emotions with your trading account. So to give you guys the example, if you have a $50,000 trading account and you start risking 2%, which essentially you're risking $1,000 per position, but emotionally, when you place the position, you're focused on your P&L too much. You can't necessarily focus on the trade itself, but you're in a state of anxiety of now wanting to lose money. You see yourself making bad trading decisions in terms of moving your stop loss up and higher and bigger, or closing your position too early is another one. When you see that you're no longer being able to stick to your trading plan and stick to your trading rules, that's a sign for you that you need to lower the risk. Although you're not taking big risks on your trading account, you're taking a 2% risk per trade. That is a clear indication that you cannot handle that type of risk because you can't handle the swings in your P&L. So essentially what you actually have to do in a situation like this is lower your risk until you get to a point where it almost doesn't matter if you lose the trade or not and how you feel about taking that loss. So in a situation like that, what you actually have to do is lower the risk to the point where you can actually think logically about the decisions you're making in the market and not act based off of emotions. So basically what I mean by this is, if you again have a $50,000 trading account, you're risking, let's call it $1,000 per position, which is a 2% risk per trade, and you see you're making a lot of emotional decisions as to either moving your stop loss up more or increasing your stop loss size when you already had to place the position. Because you have to remember, you set your stop loss at an area where you've decided, hey, if price hits this point, the trade is most likely no longer valid and I want to close. Now, you moving your stop loss up or making your stop loss bigger and tampering with your stop loss in a negative way, not in a positive way, because you can move your stop loss down if you're selling, you can move your stop loss up if you're buying, to either move your stop loss to break even or move your stop loss into a gain. But once you decided that, hey, I'm in this position, I'm risking $1,000, and you move your stop loss to now a $1,500 loss, essentially what you're doing at that point in time is hoping price reverses back on you because you can't handle the fact of you possibly getting stopped out. So those are small, clear indications that you need to actually lower your position size. Because one thing you have to remember is, although you can agree that, hey, on this trade I might lose $1,000, that doesn't mean that you subconsciously accept the fact that you could potentially lose those $1,000 on that position. So essentially what you have to do, to make a really long story short, is you have to lower your risk to the point where you almost don't care if price stops you out, because the amount of money that is being currently risked isn't so significant to the amount of money that you have in your trading account. And then that's when you want to start your trading journey. Later on with time, you can obviously look to increase your position sizing, but definitely, again, you have to risk a certain amount of money to not make money, but ultimately to make the best trading decisions, and then the money will follow later on. Again, you also have to risk an appropriate amount to what's relative to your trading account. Obviously, how much money you have in your trading account. You can't just go into the market with a $10,000 account and start risking $2,500 a trade, because I mean, in the span of 4 or 5 trades, you're done. You're completely out of the game, and you don't have a trading account anymore. So again, you just have to be able to risk whatever you're comfortable with risking, because you can say, yeah, sure, you know, I'm going to be taking a 2.5% risk per position, but subconsciously you're not comfortable with taking that risk, and then that's when you may want to lower to 1.5% risk per position. And if you're comfortable in that kind of risk range and you're comfortable with that type of risk tolerance, and that's obviously the risk that you'd like to go with, and over time you could build on that. Over time, you will start building that thick skin that's required to be in this game, and then there you could look to slowly start increasing your risk. And that doesn't mean you want to use a big risk every single trade, obviously. Now, for me, you know, I've been trading for the last 6 years, and I find it to be very easy for me to take bigger risks on some positions and take smaller risks on other positions. You're going to get to a point in time where you understand that, hey, this is a trade that I want to go a little bit heavier on, or hey, this is a trade that I may want to actually go with less risk. And ultimately, you're going to find what your risk tolerance is. But everyone has a baseline as to what type of risk tolerance they actually have and that they can actually endure. Just because just because it makes sense that risking 2% on a position is pretty sustainable, that doesn't mean that you're actually comfortable with risking those 2% per position. Some people don't have such a great risk tolerance like others, and some people just have a greater risk tolerance than others. You know, so at the end of the day, you just have to basically test around and experience what live market conditions are with the type of risks that you're entering the market. If you see you're making a lot of emotional decisions in the market, then you definitely need to lower your position size. If you see that maybe trading is a little bit too boring, then you may actually want to basically look to increase your position size just a little bit, because at the same time there has to be a balance in anything, I believe. Definitely, because if you're just emotionless to the money, then you're necessarily not going to care to what's going on in the markets, because ultimately you're not making any money. But if you find that kind of balance where you care just enough, but at the same time you're still able to make logical decisions and make decisions based off of logic and not emotion, then you know that's when you're going to find what your risk tolerance actually is. Again, it's a balance about everything. Other than that, I hope this video was able to help you out. Again, what I recommend you guys start doing from the very beginning is to start off with a 1% risk. And if you see that you can handle that 1% risk, maybe bump it up to a 2% risk. See how your trading is within a month or two of just trading at a 2% risk. And if you see you're doing a little bit better, then maybe increase to a 3% risk. But that doesn't mean you want to be risking 2 or 3% on every position. Again, there's some positions you may want to risk 1%. There's some positions you may want to risk 4 or 5%. Ultimately, the decision's up to you. And again, at the end of the day, all this is going to come with time and experience. But I'm here to just guide you guys in the right path possible. I'll talk to everybody in the next video.